The movie version of Celebration, when Walt Disney released a 25-minute video outlining plans for what he referred to as the Florida Project. This was the first idea for a theme park much like Disneyland, but on an even grander scale, so vast that people were already calling it a whole new Disney World. Standing by a wall, Disney explained his ideas for the place, including an airport of the future, a 1,000-acre industrial park, and a high-speed transit system. But at the heart of everything, Disney said, was a town, the experimental prototype community of tomorrow, or Epcot. Later that year, Disney died, and the Epcot plan was shelved. But in 1994, the company resurrected the idea, annexing some 4,900 acres of land in Florida and breaking ground on what would become Celebration. But before we get started, welcome to Tales of Titans, the place where business and history come to life. So, let's explore the dark side of Disney's Celebration. When plans for the property to be sold were released, people were so excited about living there that a lottery had to decide who could buy one of the 474 houses available. Celebration was designed to remind you of those cozy, ideal towns from the 1950s, just like the ones Disney portrays in its theme parks. It was meant to be a community where good values and peaceful living were at the forefront. Disney didn't hold back on this project, spending $4 billion and bringing in top architects to make sure this town was nothing short of magical. The construction teams worked fast, following Disney's precise instructions to bring this vision to life. Before long, 5,000 people were hoping to move into this picture-perfect place, looking for a peaceful escape from the outside world. However, keeping Celebration perfect wasn't easy. It required a ton of upkeep. Every resident had to follow a 160-page rulebook. For example, each house needed to sneak in a Mickey Mouse icon somewhere. Only certain plants could decorate the gardens, just one car per driveway, and the lawns, they had to be a certain height. Everything needed to look perfect all the time. Residents even had to use specific curtain colors. Houses were built to the design of 6 different models, mostly featuring wide porches, spacious yards, and painted white, yellow, pink, tan, or blue. It was like the town was wearing a uniform, and nobody wanted to step out of line. But Disney's control went even beyond that, setting up a town where every little detail was managed to maintain that flawless appearance. They even went as far as to place speakers hidden in the trees, playing bird sounds or soft music all the time. They really paid attention to every detail, even the seasons. In autumn, they brought in leaves from elsewhere to scatter around, and in winter, they actually brought in snow to sprinkle on rooftops and trees. When the town first opened, it had about 10,000 people living there, and things seemed to go well at the start. But it didn't take long for problems to show up. The town that was designed as a replica of Main Street, USA, is said to more closely resemble a shanty town these days, with many houses desperate for repairs. Residents started to complain about issues like roofs leaking and other maintenance and structural problems with their houses. They even did their own investigation and found out that a lot of the houses were built too quickly and not well, with at least 70 needing completely new roofs. The local school was too crowded, mixing 3 grades into one class, and each classroom had about 80 kids with only 3 teachers for all of them. The school had 19 staff members, but half of them quit within the first year, including the principal. The feedback on students' report cards was harsh, and the education quality was so poor that many parents took their kids out of the school, sold their houses, and left town. As more issues came up, a lot of people left this so-called perfect place. Initially, Disney wanted to create a town for people from all kinds of backgrounds, but because it was expensive to build and there were strict rules, it ended up being mostly wealthy white residents. The houses were sold for at least $124,000, which was way above the average price back in 1994. Over time, the situation just got worse. This town was supposed to be a getaway from the world's problems, but it turned out to be not so ideal after all. On top of all this, the designers of Celebration deliberately created a small-town atmosphere, yet the locals were well aware of how extravagant it was. They said Celebration tried too hard, and that was why it felt so artificial. And not to mention, the people in charge tried to make the residents avoid visiting other cities by making everyone pay. Different ex-residents of Celebration clarified that there's a phrase for it: being in the bubble. One resident also recalled that his aunt had mentioned how she had spent years as an insider of the bubble. However, once you step outside of their bubble, you're out. In that sense, it's a pretty peculiar location. Folks who attended her wedding and who she considered her friends have stopped speaking to her since she left the bubble. As time went on, the town started to adopt unusual customs. One of these was called Celebration Separation, where couples would swap partners. This led to the town being labeled as incestuous and a hotspot for those interested in a swingers lifestyle. A particularly controversial aspect of the town is the Death Pond, located to its south. Before 1998, there was no warning sign, making it easy for cars to accidentally drive into the pond, leading to drownings. A notable incident involved the disappearance of 3 young men in 1998 who were later found in the pond, along with their vehicle and, according to rumors, 4 other cars with deceased occupants. Following this grim discovery, a wall was built to prevent further accidents, but the eerie reputation of the Death Pond persisted. Despite the town's initial promise as an escape, a shocking event in 1998 shattered this image when a couple was attacked in their home by masked robbers. Following such incidents, Disney sold the town in 2004 to a company based in New York, leading to a decline in its allure. Many residents sold their homes, and local businesses closed, especially during the recession. Crime rates in the town increased, and in 2010, former teacher Matteo Patrick Giovendito was found murdered in his home. David Israel Murillo, the 28-year-old homeless man charged with his murder, told police Giovendito had approached him and offered him money to wash his car over the Thanksgiving weekend. He claimed Giovendito gave him a beer and that he then fell asleep and later awoke to find the former teacher on top of him, attempting to sexually assault him. The now 30-year-old said he flew into a rage and bludgeoned Giovendito with an axe he found in a closet. The murderer was later sentenced to life in prison for the crime. But there is more to Matteo as well. An anonymous mother later reported that Giovendito, who she described as a cunning pedophile predator, developed a close relationship with her 10-year-old son when she enrolled him in a summer camp at the Crossroads Academy in Florida, while Giovendito was head teacher. The single mother said the teacher appeared to take her son under his wing, even treating him to trips abroad to countries including Mexico, Japan, and China, until the boy suddenly cut all ties with Giovendito at the age of 14. She claimed she later learned her son's mentor had been sexually abusing him for years, and this was only one of the many reported incidents. This series of events marked the end of the town's reputation as a quiet, safe haven. Just days after this murder happened, there was a big problem in the town. A man barricaded himself in his house for 14 hours, fighting with the police. In the end, he shot a police officer and then himself. This event made everyone realize that the town of Celebration wasn't as perfect as they thought. People had moved there hoping to live in a dream place like Disneyland, but they found out that real-life problems couldn't be avoided. The town was meant to be perfect, but trying to control everything actually made things worse. Kids who grew up there weren't ready for the real world outside. People started wondering if there was more to Disney leaving Celebration than they were told. There were rumors and questions about what really happened and if outside factors were involved in messing up the dream of a perfect community. The fall of Celebration made people think about whether it's possible to create a perfect place to live without facing real-world challenges. It also made people question if Disney or anyone else could try to create such a place again without it ending badly. Celebration was supposed to be a safe place, but it ended up showing the dangers of trying to make an artificial paradise in our imperfect, unpredictable world. Well, that's all, folks. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more amazing content. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.